Red, white, and blue.
Yes, red, white, and blue. Happy 4th of July coming up, folks.
Yeah,
You're listening
tomorrow.
to the Stockwell Eldridge Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with Remax Results.
And I'm Dawn Eldridge with Remax Results.
Stephanie Havel.
Good morning, Wells Fargo. Good morning.
And we have Nate Nelson here.
The fabulous, entertaining, and very intelligent.
Very intelligent. So here's what we want to make sure we're going over is how to limit your liability when you're buying rental property and how to properly do it, and then leases and things like that. So obviously, a lot of times this can be complicated. I've seen people, and I'm sure, Nate, you get people go in, buy, and something goes wrong. Otherwise, you guys wouldn't be in business, right? I mean, they need help after the fact, right?
We never have a bad day, Jason.
So then it's better to plan ahead, do it right ahead of time so that you're not just winging it on your first one. Now, after you get this down, you get some of them, you have the proper setups and the proper structures, go buy whatever you want as long as it's a good deal and you think it'll make sense. And you can reach out to Dawn, myself, or our team, or Stephanie for financing to find these and buy these things. But there's opportunities out there all the time, folks. I can't tell you how much opportunity I see out there. I go online and I'm on the MLS all day long, and I'm researching and I see buyers, they want to buy this, they buy that. And I say, look, that was bought just 3 months ago for $131,000 and now it's for sale for $225,000. There's opportunity in real estate, and it doesn't mean someone has to lose in order for someone else to gain in real estate. They bought it at that price, either think through a foreclosure or something like that. Mm-hmm. So the person who was foreclosed lost, but they probably weren't paying or something happened in their life. Unfortunate, that happens in life. They probably are going to rebound now and come back and buy another house at a great price.
Right.
So there's always all kinds of good opportunity out there that you need to take advantage of. But if you don't get in the game or don't ask the questions or don't start, you're not going to be able to take part in it. And there's no golden opportunity time. Right, it's always a good time in real estate to buy for rentals because we all need a place to live. If you wanted to really be a genius, you would have bought everything you could under the sun in the recession. But hindsight, it's still good now. I'm still buying houses right now that are rentals or for remodels or things like that, and I think that's what the consumers need to know. But you need experts that are helping you with that, and to set it up properly and learn from others' mistakes. Nate's got a load of people that have made a ton of mistakes, and that's why they're helping people out.
That's why Nate's in business.
And that's one of the best parts about law, though, is that we do learn from other person's experiences. I think what we were talking about last time is what do you do to help mitigate risk? And one of the ideas would simply be to pass the risk on to the tenants. So let's get a personal financial statement and make sure that the tenant is viable, that they can at least make the rental payments and maybe hopefully cover the insurance premiums that you'll have on the property. Try and look for as much insurance that the property can withhold, and then put terms in the lease. The tenant should be ultimately responsible for the tenant's use of the property and the tenant's guests at the property. Let's hold the tenant responsible there. Let's have the tenant indemnify the landlord for any damages to the property. And then let's also control the tenant's conduct at the property. Who's going to be staying there? What they shouldn't have parties. They shouldn't be disturbing. That would disturb the peace. Let's keep a control over their conduct. And then if they breach those provisions, that would be another harbinger of what's going to be coming, which could be the big slip and fall, which could be a problem. That's when you'll have actions within your own contract, the lease, to be able to take.
So I have a question about that. So on my leases, what I have the tenants do is I put them responsible for the snow and lawn care on single-family residences or even duplexes, and it's in the lease that way. And a friend of mine also has that where the tenants are in charge of it, but he will buy the lawnmower for them. I don't buy the lawnmower for them because I don't want to be liable for buying a lawnmower if it breaks down or if something happens to them due to the lawnmower that I bought, right? I mean, so am I being totally a jerk, or I mean, what they love it and everybody seems fine with it? I don't know.
Well, I wouldn't even want a free lawnmower because I don't mow my own lawn. But aside from that, Jason.
But I mean, am I protecting it doing the right way in the lease where I'm not where the tenants are okay and I'm okay? Or
two quick things. One, it would be great if you're going to be acquiring property for investment and having tenants rent in there. You should also create a sister company that could manage all the properties as the property manager. So the property management company would own the lawnmowers if that's the case.
Yeah, but I'm not giving them lawnmowers. I'm having them be in charge of the lawn care. So they got to go get their own lawnmower.
again, that gets into the creditworthiness and the viability of the tenant. You can put that in the lease.
Yeah, if they're
breach.
willing to do it and they want to do it, they're okay with it, right? I'm okay on that.
Doesn't make
right?
you a bad guy, no.
But I'm protected by me not mowing the lawn either or shoveling and all that stuff, right? So my question on that is, the shoveling incident. The tenant's in charge of shoveling. They don't shovel. Someone does slip and fall. That's still going to come back on me, though, right?
That's going to come back on you. Also, if they don't mow the lawn, the property is going to get probably a ding by the city, and that's going to come back on you. So I want to go just a little bit broader, and I want to have the tenant and the tenant responsible for the tenant and their guests and any damages that happen on the property.
So that can be in the lease.
It should be in the lease, and
really,
don't skimp on the lease. Clear, remember, is a lot better than non-clear, or because if we take this to court, the judge is likely going to be on the tenant side, so we have to be able to pin the tail on the donkey in the lease where the breach occurred.
Yep. So in my lease, I actually had it prepared by an attorney, not by you, but I actually have
Do you
in
guys
there
prepare
because
leases, Nate?
All day long.
Okay, good.
Okay.
All right.
So my lease, because it's a Minneapolis property, and Minneapolis is notorious for rental licensing and everything, I actually have a fee and a fine if they remove the smoke detectors and it gets inspected by the city. They have to pay. They are responsible to keep those operable in place, and if they're taken down, they pay $150 because I want to protect myself from having to monitor that part. Not all cities do that, but I know Minneapolis is really strict with those kind of things, and I think you have to be careful and pay attention to whichever city you're in and what their guidelines are for rentals as well.
Is it legal, Nate? Quick question about, is it legal to require tenants to have rental insurance?
I don't know the answer to.
Like, can I say, hey, you can rent this place, here's the lease. It's making it mandatory that you have your own renter's policy, because that has some liability protection in it as well. That
we could put in the contract with the lease that if they don't if they don't have the rental insurance and you don't lease with them, we could also go back to the point where they'd have to look at their rental insurance before they look at your owner insurance in the case that both policies become active.
Yeah.
What happens there, Jason, lots of times, though, is that we're looking for a waiver of subrogation. Now I'm going to put everyone to sleep. And, and this is a practical matter. The insurers generally do not appreciate that, and they generally won't issue the policy with the waivers of subrogation.
Oh, because they want to,
They'll keep fighting back. It won't be you, me and you. It'll be a bunch of different suits that are fighting over the insurance allocations.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, great information. So, want to make sure that you still know that it is very long-term wealth gained through rentals. There's disasters that happen in rentals. There's bad things that can happen. It does take some work, but the payoff in it long-term is very, very good. And our broker, John Collop, he always tells us, and he says, been saying this ever since I've known him, if you buy one house a year, every year, you will basically ensure and guarantee that your retirement will be good. You will be set. In other words, you won't be broke in your retirement. So buy a minimum of one house every year. Good market, bad market, high market, low market. Buy it smart. Buy one that works and it cash flows and it makes sense. But that's how you build your portfolio, because he had many clients and friends that were at retirement age when the crash happened. And they lost tons in their stock market, tons in their portfolio. And the ones who had real estate that had listened to his advice and bought a house, they were able to still retire. Even though they took a hit, they still had those assets. They still had cash flow coming in.
The income stream.
Yes, they had the income stream coming in.
So to your point, Jason, how you started the show, in that scenario, we'd like to see each year you create a new LLC that owns each of the new properties. Otherwise, as you were talking about, if we try to undo something like this, all the eggs would be in one basket. So if you had drama at the 2014 property, even though you might have properties acquired over the next 15 years, all those 15 properties could be used to satisfy the
So you'd have 15 different, so it'd be,
15
Nate
different
and Stephanie
LLCs.
Havel is one LLC, and then
we'd have
Nate and...
Real quick question on that. We're coming up on a break here in a minute, but I've heard people say that can be a nightmare from an accounting standpoint. So how do you get around that piece of it?
You know what? I hear that as the number one objective or objection by my clients as
on
well.
The next show.
But it's and I want a separate bank account, and I want the tenants to pay to a separate account.
It's a total management. Right?
Or put all your eggs in one basket. And where this concept really came up with was New York City. The average life of a taxi cab is like 4 months, and they all because they end up by crash, and they get in a whole bunch of exposure, and then people sue the taxi cab company. So what would happen is the cabs, each cab would be its own LLC, if you will.
Oh my gosh.
And then if you got hit by that cab, okay, you can have the driver that probably can't satisfy the judgment, and you can have the cab, but the cab's broken. So the courts were like, this is terrible. The only remedy was they went to the legislature in New York, and now you have to have at least two cabs in each LLC.
Wow. Well, back with more, because I have a few more questions for Nate, and I'm sure Dawn does as well. But hopefully you're learning, folks, about rentals and how it can work. But it does take a little legwork up front, just like anything that's good in life takes some work. You're listening to the Stockwell Eldritch Show. We'll be back soon.